end of the open sky, over the siren sound. This is a dream, getting the royal scar, holding a diamond blade, throwing it far, holding your breath still. You jump the fire, we'll just sit and wait till you see me fly. You know they'll never catch me for it. See me fly, the way I put my finger on it. See me fly, you got it, then try to tell me you got the wrong guy. See me fly, you know they'll never catch me for it. See me fly, the way I put my finger on it. See me fly, you got it, then try to tell me you got the wrong guy.
Hello, you guys. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to be here live today. Honestly, it's kind of a chaotic day and I'm a little bit flustered. I am heading off to Kelowna again to see some of my friends there that have a production company, and we are doing a whole bunch of branding. And so I have to leave tomorrow and get all these things ready. So it's kind of all hands on deck. And I just dropped off my dog, my husky Trunks, at dog daycare. He goes to this place called Happy Hound, and it's absolutely huge. Of all the daycares he's ever gone to, it's the biggest one. And I've always wondered how they don't have scraps in there. And so I dropped him off, took his harness off, and he went into the back, and then immediately a huge dog fight broke out. And so of course my heart was like, and I burst through all the doors that say employees only, and to watch my dog getting attacked by another dog. But fortunately they pulled them apart and, put my dog to the side. And it's funny, I felt this old emotional kind of reactive part of me come up and just want to take him and be like, give me my dog, like, ah. But it didn't go there. And they came out to talk to me, and it was good because the owner came to talk to me and everything was fine, but it delayed me. And then I got home and I'm like, oh shit, I've got it set up for this live stream. So here we are. And I don't even know what I want to talk about today, but I think I was thinking about this yesterday. There's these little pieces that we actually implement, and these little choice points that we navigate, where we either go there or we don't go there in our daily lives. And I think that they actually make a much bigger impact to where we're going than you realize. And one of the biggest things I learned, particularly from working with Marissa Peer and her rules of the mind, is, every thought you think, every word you speak, I haven't thought about this in a while. Every thought you think, every word you speak, I don't know what it would be, but creates a blueprint that your mind, body, and psyche work together to make your reality. And what that basically means is that every time you do something, think something, say something, you're paving the way for that behavior in the future. And so I think about, what if I had gone down the road of crazy today, and let that emotional reactivity take over me and been like, I'm taking him. Then it like opens up this old behavior pattern of, now I'm normalizing to myself sort of this Karen energy and being reactive. And then I probably would have felt, well, I wouldn't have felt, because my whole body of work is to not feel shame about myself. But I would have not, I would have thought about that and been like, that wasn't great. And now I have to change something. And can you see how we're moving backwards? So I think a lot of these little choice point moments that we have in life are so important. And it's funny, when I even think back to the beginning, when I sort of had this burst of success in the RTT world when I first graduated. And one of the things is, people just looked at me and they're like, it's working for you. Like, your life has changed. Like, kind of like, how did this work for you? And the biggest thing is that I was just taking everything that I was learning and actually implementing it. Like, that's it. That's it. I was just really implementing it and changing the way that I talk to myself and changing the way that I um, spoke to myself and looked at things. And I think sometimes we get so invested in modalities or this big insight or this program or this breakthrough that we actually miss the importance and the value of the super basic things, like how you talk to yourself on the daily or how you talk about things. And this is so important, to go through with a fine tooth comb all of the things that you're saying to yourself and all the things that the way that you're speaking about your life throughout the day. And so I had this come up this morning as well. I was making a reel and I'm very excited. I feel like I'm just relaunching my brand right now. It's very exciting. So making this reel and I was super excited. And then I pressed the back button one too many times when I was trying to get back to like change a setting. And all of this work that I had done was just immediately erased, and which is super frustrating, right? And so I said immediately, I freaking hate Instagram. This is why I don't post on social media. And I suddenly caught myself because what am I telling myself? I'm telling myself that I hate doing this thing that I actually want to be doing. I'm telling myself that posting on social media, that doing this day-to-day business task is painful. And that's exactly the kind of self-talk that leads us to later on having more trouble doing that thing, not being able to do that thing. Katerina, oh my goodness, hello. You should jump on the live call and we should have a chat right now if you're still here. I feel like that would be so fun. I would love to catch up with you. So let me know. The link's in my bio and you can just register and it'll email you a link and you just click the link and you'll be in here. And that goes for anyone else too that would like to join. I think there's someone here. I know V's here. I'm not sure if she's having camera issues or if she just doesn't want to talk, but V, you can let me know in the chat if you'd like to speak. But yeah, these little things on the day to day where we go through and we either, we sometimes tell ourselves the old story. We tell ourselves the pain when it's like we don't actually want that to be painful. I don't actually want posting on social media to be painful. So in that moment, I need to not say that to myself. And all of that helps me move forward and really integrate this way of being where there's a lot less resistance, because I'm not in resistance to all of the things that I've told myself and I've made painful as I'm working to and trying to move forward. So it's just so important. It's so important to go through in a fine tooth comb. V says she's here, but she's late and she's in bed, so she's just watching. Okay, no problem. Check the chat. Oh, Katerina's coming in. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Also, I've got a free masterclass coming up next week. It's called Who You Be. This masterclass I'm so excited about it. It's a free masterclass. I have been writing the outline and it's just freaking fire. It brings in so much of the work that I've been building. And I think one of the really beautiful things is that because I've been working with people for a while and I've seen so many different things, I'm getting better and better at helping people what's the word, like self recognize different patterns, and I know exactly how to crack you out of them. So this masterclass is going to be freaking fire. I'm so excited about it. It's next Thursday and the link for that is also in my bio. And I'm just waiting for Katerina to come on here. And what else is going on right now? I guess we can talk a little bit about not fragmenting yourself is a big thing that's been on my mind lately. And I think as we move forward, we kind of do this in positive ways. So if you're here, if you're listening, you're probably that person that's moved out of a place where, you're caught between like a pendulum of failure and success. Like you're probably got that kind of stuff dialed down. But what you might not realize is that a lot of the times when we give ourselves identity words or we try to put ourselves in a box or in a container, we limit another part of ourselves. And that's fragmentation. But our power, our authentic power, the kind of power that I'm always talking about, that I'm always working on moving people into, that comes from wholeness. And so without realizing it, even after we've healed and even after we understand a lot, we have a tendency to still fragment ourselves in different ways. And one of the ways is that we try and put ourselves in a box. Um, an example that I've been noticing a lot lately in myself and in others is, where there's a real claiming of the spiritual or the gifted side of oneself. So people will really go, "Oh, I love, this spiritual side of me, and I want to claim that, and I want to become more of that." But without realizing it, what we'll often do is we go, "Okay, well, I'm going to put myself in that box. So I'm all about unity, consciousness, and love, and spirituality, and intuition, da, da, da." But then there's this other part of you that maybe just loves business, or is really intellectual, or is really sharp and sassy, or maybe has, some dark humor. And it feels like that part of you doesn't fit in this box that you've now put ourselves in. And now we're in this fragmentation where it's like, well, because I found this part of this version, this thing that I really like, I've now put myself in that box. But now, because I put myself in a box, I feel like I can't be this other part of myself. And while that may feel positive, because you're claiming that, spiritual side of yourself, or whatever it is, feels like claiming it, but without realizing it, you're actually putting yourself in a box, and you're actually limiting yourself, and you're actually fragmenting ourselves. So a lot of the times when without realizing it, if we don't have this awareness, we are actually, when we think that we're claiming a part of ourselves, if we overly identify with it, we're actually just moving ourselves into a different state of fragmentation. And this saps our power, our authentic power. Our authentic power comes from the allowing of us to be in the wholeness, in the fullness of who we are. And the whole spectrum of it, all of the different versions, all of the different aspects, to really allow sort of an ease and a flowing of that, and not be sort of cutting ourselves in half, in order to claim a version of ourselves. Katarina said she's coming, but she's not here. Katarina, are you coming? I don't know if I should check my email. Maybe she's replying. Let's see. Katarina, are you coming online? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she meant now. Oh yeah, someone just registered. I think she's coming. Okay. What else? What else? I think too, something that's been on my mind is like letting ourselves be in the full experience of life, and have let ourselves experience contrast. Let ourselves experience being triggered. Let ourselves experience environments that don't necessarily conform to who and how we are. So a lot of times we will get into this thing where, and this, I feel like this gets reinforced in the personal development world too. People will say you should only surround yourself with people that are going where you're going, and you're the summation of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And this is true. And the goal is not to put yourself in a bubble. So that Katarina's here. Let me just finish this thought, and then I'll bring you up. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't even finish the thought now. I don't know what I'm saying. What am I saying? The point is not to put yourself in a bubble where nothing bothers you. Because if the only way that you can grow is to put yourself in a bubble where nothing bothers you, then you're not actually growing. You're just isolating yourself, and that doesn't work. We do want to surround ourselves with people and situations and environments that enhance our growth and allow us to move into that expanded self. But if the only way we can do that is by erasing everything that's uncomfortable and creates contrast in our environment, then that's not actually growth. You have to be able to hold your authentic power in the face of contrast. Otherwise, it's not actually growth. Oh my goodness, get up here. Hello, gorgeous. You are
Hello,
up,
love. Hello,
Katarina.
gorgeous to you too.
How are you? Oh, it looks like we just lost her. So Katarina is I met her in a mastermind, and she is the Miracle Frequency, I believe, on Instagram. And she is someone that really just made me get that frequency and feels like magic can be transmitted in more ways um, than just like the learning of it. You know, she creates this incredible music, she creates this art, she's very creative, and she's very intellectual. We met each other in person, which was so amazing. I think it was last October maybe at the Quantum Success Leadership Summit with Suzanne Adams, who's another one of my amazing friends. And it was really interesting to talk to her about this journey of moving from kind of this very intellectual, very, very business background and mindset into, you know, this more woo-woo stuff and channeling and letting this like spirituality really just flow through. And I know that it was a conversation that I really enjoyed. And I think that it's something that a lot of us experience. And it kind of goes back into what I was just talking about in holding that. It's not even duality. It's like the whole spectrum of who you are and being like, I am this intellectual and I'm incredibly intuitive and connected to nature. So we will see if she is coming back on. I'm going to just message her on Instagram Messenger and see what she's going on. And yeah, it was just an incredible, it makes you think about your own prejudices as well, because I think this desire to put ourselves in a box is actually one of the, I'm going to call it artifact, but that's not the right. It's one of the functions of our mind, right? And we're always labeling things. That's what biases are. We're labeling things. We're labeling things. We're labeling things, and without realizing it, because we label things so simply so that we can understand them, we often miss the depth of what's underneath and what else is there, what else is the nuance that goes along with whatever that thing is. And so it's interesting because without even realizing it, see, everything that you've repeated to yourself over and over and over again has become so normal to you that you don't even see it unless you take attention to it. So just as you're looking at these labels that you're giving yourself when you're putting yourself in boxes and fragmenting yourself, you can also look at, well, when I put other people in boxes, what's actually happening? Hello, Isabel. Isabel, how are you? Oh my goodness. We are, yes, Isabel, I just have so much love for you. I'm so happy to see you here. I don't even know what I'm saying now. I'm so all over the place today. Katarina just said Mercury retrograde microwave, and I'm like, yes, that's it. Oh, here she is. Here she is. Hello, Katarina.
Is the microwave working?
Yes, it looks like it.
I wanted to come on because I love this conversation that you're having. I love it.
Tell me, what do you love? Share.
Well, I missed the snip of it while I was trying to get on and figuring out all the links. But I know you're talking a little bit about the things that we tell ourselves. And one of the things that I've noticed in me, so I'm getting ready to release my new album next week, on the 22nd. And one of the things that still loops in my mind, because as you know, this music path was very unplanned. It's just been like a full surrender moment for me. That, that thought of like, I'm not an artist or I'm not a musician. And it's like, hello, you literally have songs out and you're putting out an album. Like, at what point am I going to feel in this body that, I am an artist, I am a musician, this is the work that I'm putting out. And so it's so relevant to what was coming up for me, what you're talking about.
You're all of it. Well, so while you were trying to get back on, I was actually sharing with everyone about your music and the Miracle Frequency and how you were someone that kind of like unlocked for me how much can be transmitted not just through teachings, but through like music or different mediums. And then I shared a lot. And then I was sharing the conversation that we had in at Suzanne's event when we were talking about being a very, very intellectual, but then also very kind of intuitive and spiritual. And it leads into this conversation about like that we so want to like put ourselves in one box. Like it's like I'm the intellectual or I'm the spiritualist or I'm the musician, and not instead of like expanding and going like, oh, I'm all of it. Like I get to be super smart and the music, and I get to be super woo-woo and play with dragons in caves and all the things, right?
Exactly, exactly. The phrase that's been coming to me recently is I contain multitudes. Like just
Ooh,
feel that in your bones, like I contain multitudes, you contain multitudes, we all contain multitudes. And it's a big thing to accept and to like breathe into and to allow in,
yeah.
it's um but like what becomes possible all of a sudden, it's all the boxes are just like goodbye, like one moment I'm doing I provide management support. I have a management agency, so one moment I'm like in COO mode for like these huge other companies and light leaders and priestesses in one moment, and the other moment I'm like channeling codes and creating music and in like the depths of like a creative like puddle of who even knows what. It's like so extreme. And there's a part of me that's like, how do I explain this? Like I was actually on a dating app and somebody's like, what do you do? And I'm like,
Oh God.
not happening here. No. It's just it's that its own.
I think the sound might have dropped out for a second. Those of you that are watching, did you lose the sound? Let me know. Isabel says the whole human, it's so liberating to put it all into one. Yeah, she's frozen. To put it into one. Oh, I can put this on the screen, I think. This is cool. We're still getting to know how this. Oh, I think Katerina's
I
coming
think
back.
I'm
Okay, let
back.
me read. Okay, let me finish reading Isabel's quote. She said, the whole human, it's so liberating to put it all
Go for
into
it.
one being and accepting that magic and playing in the space where all of you is welcome in the world, not compartmentalized, but expanded. Yes, this is the thing going on right now for so many, like we were chatting about the other day. Yes. You guys, Katerina's music is so good. You have to check it out. Katerina, are you back? Can you hear me? I feel like a radio host today. I don't know why. I'm like, okay, are we going to cut to the news? Like, let's go. Katerina, can you hear me? Okay, I think she's frozen. So I'm going to just share an insight that I had around this the other day, and hopefully this will be valuable because I believe that whenever we're fragmenting ourselves in this way, so there's two sides to this. There's like kind of the light side, which is what I was talking about. Is it like I'm now over identifying with a label of myself? So if I over identify with being spiritual or being a musician or being the CEO, then it causes me to sort of like under identify with the parts of myself that aren't in kind of resonance with that. But the other side of that, what I think of as kind of more the shadow side, is very often there's pieces where I feel a certain way about that part of myself. So maybe the CEO in me feels negatively about the musician in me, or maybe the spiritualist in me feels negative about the musician in me, or, and this is where it gets really interesting, or, and this is what it often is, it's part of the double projection field in that the people that I'm around, I'm projecting onto them what I think that they think. And then I'm imagining how the version of them that I'm creating in my mind thinks about a part of me. And this is where it gets super sticky. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, using Katerina's example, let's say she's in like CEO mode, and there's the people that she interacts with there. Well, very often we have an idea in our mind of what those people think, what they like and don't like. And we don't actually know what they like and don't like. We only know what we think they don't like. So we're projecting onto them ourselves. Then we're imagining, and sometimes this is just completely unconscious. It's not that you're running around thinking this. This is just happening, that you're now responding to the version of them that you've created in your mind, and how you think they're going to perceive different parts of you. So you've been in CEO mode and you've created all these projections on people, and now you're trying to move into musician mode, but all of these projections that you've created about the people that you're around don't like not them. The version of them that you've created in your mind doesn't actually like that part of yourself, which is actually a reflection of you, because some unintegrated part of you judges that part of yourself. And so you experience the judgment not through you judging yourself, but you experience the judgment through you imagining them judging this version of you, which is actually you just judging you. But it comes through in this whole tomfoolery, like magic mirror house of like, I'm seeing this reflected back this way at this thing that's this fractal that's behind me, but it's actually all you. But the beauty in this is when we experience something like this, I mean, it was a guilty, we all are, but this is the beauty. And this is what I really want to draw attention. That's not a bad thing. This is the most beautiful thing. When something like this happens, it is the greatest gift of all. I feel like one of the most difficult moments is when we don't know what to work on, when we don't know where to go. And so in these moments where we experience this, we are actually allowing a part of ourselves to be seen that's normally invisible. So it's not even be guilty. It's like, be grateful. Be grateful that I can see it, because now I can work on it. Every time you're triggered, it's an opportunity for growth. Every time you notice hypocrisy, it's an opportunity for growth. Every time you do something you wish you didn't do, it's an opportunity for growth. Every time you come up against a wall of resistance, it's an opportunity for growth. And so the question is, do you take that opportunity and grow, or do you guilt and shame yourself? Or, and Kimberly, I'm not focusing on you. I'm just you're giving me an idea to talk about. Or what a lot of us do is we make stories to normalize the thing. We go, oh, it's okay, because in order to self-soothe and make ourselves better. But what we don't realize is, as we're soothing that emotion that's coming up, the story we're creating is keeping us stuck, because we're creating a story of normalization around the very thing that we don't really want to have. So when this comes up and we feel like, oh, like Katerina's talking about, where I'm leaning into an uncomfortable edge, that's actually your greatest time for growth, because now all this stuff that was always there, it was always there. The stuff that she's experiencing has always been there. It's in the shadows, but now it's getting stirred up so she can see it, and so she can work on it. It was, and it's, even though it's not stirred up, it's always limiting you, right? So the stuff that we can't see is always limiting us from the shadows. So when this stuff comes up, we have the opportunity to work on it. And that's one of the reasons, it's one of the reasons that continued growth requires so much inner work. And it's the reason that you have to do the inner work in order to grow. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Kimberly says, when I say guilty, I do this, and it's great hearing the reflection so I can see it more clearly. Yeah, 100%. That's it, right? That's it. And that's the thing. That's the beauty, is when we draw attention to these things, we can see them and we can shift them. And even like from metacognitive psychology, we know that if we, Katerina says text not operating, but she's going to circle back. I'm so happy. Yeah, even from metacognitive psychology, we know that if we keep our attention on something, that will help unravel the pattern. Not saying that it will completely get rid of it and do all the work, but keeping your attention on this thing that's come up will help dissolve it. And so I think of it like, I don't know why I have this analogy in my head, but just this is what's burned into my mind. There was a mouse that got into my kitchen at one of the places I was staying, and I came out and it was just there on the counter, and I was like, oh, I didn't know what to do, and I just put my thumb on its tail. And it was like this mouse, unfortunately, didn't turn around and bite me, because I think it was scared too, but it was just like stuck there. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But as long as I kept my thumb on that mouse's tail, it was there, and I could be like, what am I going to do about this? But I knew the second I took my thumb off, it was just going to scurry into a dark hole somewhere and it wouldn't see it again for months, right? And it's the same with this stuff that's in our unconscious, in our shadow that we can't normally see. Once we get our attention on it, like we're talking about in these examples, the goal, keep your thumb on it, keep your awareness on it, because as you continue to shine that light on it when it's available, you'll start to see other parts of it, and that will start to help untangle the pattern. What we don't want to do is when we notice something, just let it go and let it sort of like disappear into the shadow again. Because like I said, when it's always limiting us, we just can't see it and we can't see how. It's when we move into this uncomfortable edge of growth, that's when we have the opportunity to work on that. So recoding our relationship with these limiting factors as they come up, to not feel guilt or shame or something's wrong with me because I have this thing, which go, oh, thank goodness, now I know what it is, now I can work on it, and now I can move forward, and now I can move into my expanded self. And something that I've really realized is that moving into our expanded self makes us feel so freaking good. So good. This has been something that's been really interesting for me to navigate in my brand messaging, because I think a lot about like what do I feel like in the world needs to be changed, and what needs to not be perpetuated, and how do I make sure that that's actually reflected and embodied in my brand and the way that I speak to people. And so one of the things I think about is I think that this sort of North American striving hustle culture thing is not healthy, right? This like sacrifice everything so you can be a success. That external validation driver is not healthy. But what I have realized from being so deep in the feminine and being so deep in the lean back and being so deep in the being, is that when I'm actually not expanding into my potential, that doesn't make me happy either. So there's this beautiful synergy between I'm not grinding and forcing, and I'm not doing it for something external, but I am growing. The growth and the realization of my personal potential makes us happy. And so I think where this gets fun is, I wrote this really sassy post this morning. I've been kind of sharp lately. But I was saying, like, F making yourself feel grateful for your coffee in the morning. What you should do is light the fire inside your soul, like lean into the uncomfortable edges, deal with the stuff you've been avoiding, and expand into your highest and greatest self, because that will light you on fire. I feel this in my chest as I tap into it. It feels so freaking good to live into your expanded self, to realize the potential that you're capable of. And what happens is, as you live that way, even if it's hard to sort of like to push through some stuff, you move into this state of being where gratitude is the only thing you can feel when you're drinking your coffee in the morning. And so some of us, I feel like, get this message confused. And I realize this as well. I speak from experience, where it's like, oh, I should be grateful for everything that is. And it's like, I want so much ease that I'm not pushing into any of the discomfort. But the thing is, climbing the mountain of my life's challenges is actually the thing that makes me feel this way, where gratitude is like the automatic frequency, right? And we talk about frequency first, and energy doesn't lie. Sometimes people are like, well, let me manipulate my energy into this frequency of gratitude or into this high vibe place, but that's not it. When I talk about authentic power and authenticity, I say the opposite of authenticity isn't inauthenticity, it's manipulation. It's manipulation of the self. That's what not authenticity is. And so when we try to manipulate our energy or our state of being to be X without letting it come inside first, I see it like changing the color of my sun versus like trying to just like change how it's seen, right? That breaks that authenticity. And so sometimes it's not about forcing a feeling or forcing gratitude. It's about living in a way and internally, that's internally in integrity and alignment with, I can't help but feel gratitude. I can't help but feel joy. I can't help but feel love for myself. I can't help but feel love for others. I can't help but feel compassion for humanity. I can't help but want to do more good in the world, because all of that is in full alignment with the way I'm living and the state of being that I've moved into. So I think it's a really interesting contemplation on the trying to fit ourselves in a box versus the like find what part of me internally is not in alignment with this, what part of me internally needs to shift. Um, because when we figure that out, that changes everything. It's the internal realignment. I always say this, that makes the changes in your external world. And when we become internally defined, this is kind of a bigger concept, but I'm going to talk about this on my Who You Be masterclass next Thursday, which is free. So definitely register. When I talk about internally, but versus externally defined and how we get there, this is the thing. And then we're not dependent on our environment for how we feel, and so we experience way less of this kind of pendulum swinging. So I feel like this was a really good conversation for coming in today and not having anything planned to talk about, not having a live. I so appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that contributed. V, thank you for being here with your live energy. Katarina, thank you for coming up briefly. You guys have to check out Katarina's music. She is so incredible. I was just thinking when you were up, I was like, I've got to put that song on my playlist. I don't know why I never did that. And Isabel, thank you for being here, Isabel. And I have some secret stuff that's coming up. And Kimberly, oh my goodness, it is such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Kimberly, too. I've really noticed just in everything that you've been sharing, like a new level of life and power and fire coming through you. And I just really want to take a moment and celebrate that because it's really beautiful and it's being felt through the internet, which means that it's there and it's so real. So just like some love and kudos to you, my darling. And if you're watching, whether it's live or the replay, I'd love if you comment. If you're watching the replay, comment replay. It helps the algorithm promote it and more people see this. I feel like this was a really good conversation that will benefit people. So yeah, I would love it if you just comment and maybe what your takeaway was or on anything. I mean, there's so much amazingness and feel free to share. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're registered for live sessions, this is this week's live session. I'm traveling this weekend, so there won't be a live session on Friday, but next Friday we'll be back to the regular schedule. If you want to register for live sessions, you can use this link or you can just check the link in my bio and then you can come on and chat with me live, which is super fun. Free masterclass, Who You Be, is next Thursday. Make sure you're registered. And I am sending you so much love and bye for now.